All right, I'll say good day. This transmission has been titled Matters of the Heart in honor of your February month, your Valentine holiday. And since we will be talking about matters of the heart, let us get to the heart of the matter. First of all, the physicalness. Your heart, as you know, beats to pump your blood through your veins and arteries around your body, circulating oxygen to your systems so they may absorb it and thrive and function properly. Let's draw an analogy between that system, the circulatory system of your body, and the circulatory system of the earth. You know that deep within your planet, you have a circulatory system of molten metal. As this molten metal moves around underneath the ground of your world, this is what generates the electromagnetic field of your planet. Likewise, your blood, your body contains a certain amount of iron. And the idea is that as it moves around your body, similarly, it also is to some degree responsible for amplifying and magnifying and producing the electromagnetic field that extends from your body. As you allow yourself more clarity, more refinement in your physical form, as you remove toxins from your system that may interfere with this process of your blood circulation, this electromagnetic field becomes more and more refined and extends farther and farther from your body. The strongest component of it is the heartbeat itself, or when the blood arrives in the heart, containing all of that iron. And with every heartbeat, you send out an electromagnetic bubble that expands from your body, all of you, and immerse each other in these electromagnetic connective bubbles. So that one heart literally talks to all the others, and you are immersed in the electromagnetic bubbles of all the other hearts. This allows for amplification of the communication non-verbally between you, allows for greater consistency and refinement and precision in your telepathic contacts with one another, which again is why we say telepathy instead of telepathy, because the empathy underscores the emotional component of the heart, the emotional intelligence of the heart that communicates with every beat to every other heart on the planet. You are living, expanding bubbles of electromagnetic energy that expand and issue from the heart with every single beat, in constant connection and communication with one another. Now, as you refine your physical form, as you ascend, as you accelerate your vibration, uplift your frequency, these heartbeats become even more powerful. The electromagnetic or auric field around your body becomes highly sensitive to higher frequency energies from other dimensions, including the spirit realm. And so again, as your frequency rises, not only do you have better connections among yourselves physically on the planet, You have much stronger ability to connect and receive information from the spirit realm as well. So it is with the opening of the heart, the acceleration of your vibration, the upliftment of your frequency, that you will not only connect with all physical beings on your planet, not just humans, but all physical beings, but also connect with the spirit realm more consciously and have more awareness of their communications to you that come through electromagnetic energy. The electromagnetic field of your planet that you are immersed in, again, allows you to align with it by accelerating your frequency, creating the entire planet in that sense to be a beacon, to be a receiver of spirit realm energy, higher dimensional energies, extraterrestrial energies that operate on higher frequencies. So when you are all aligned in that sense in the future, you will find that you will open up gateways, lines of communication to dimensions you had no idea existed. You will be able to receive information from many different levels of reality. And this will become the norm as we experience it on our world. We commune with spirits and extra-dimensional beings every day, all the time. It is part of our natural reality to know that this information exists, can be received and tapped into at any given moment when you're operating on that frequency from the highest levels of the heart. So you will eventually get used to the idea of walking through a dreamlike world, just as we do, where the heart really is what gives you the opportunity to know how much there is you are not seeing now, not experiencing now. You're only experiencing a relatively thin slice of reality, even of your own reality. But when you open your heart, all those gateways, all those doorways, all those windows will begin to open as well, and you will see how much richer your reality truly is. Now, with regard to energetic communication with your own higher mind, the heart is absolutely crucial in this process because the higher mind, again, speaks in the language of energy, sends energy of certain frequencies to you, which your physical mind translates into the sensation of passion. But the reason it does this is because the heart is specifically tuned to the vibration of the higher mind in its natural state. Therefore, the reason that your physical body translates the messages, the communications from your higher mind as the sensation of passion, excitement, curiosity, attraction, and unconditional love is because the heart is what's actually directly receiving the core communication from the higher mind and filling your body with that vibration. Now, of course, it can be filtered through the belief systems of the physical mind that can allow it not necessarily to be experienced in its pure form, its pure unconditional loving form. And that is why it is so important to get a hold of your belief systems, to consciously be aware of them. Let go of the fear-based ones that prevent you from experiencing the pure core vibration transmission from your higher mind that is bounced back to the physical mind by the heart with every beat as a guiding mechanism to say, align with this, align with this, align with this. This is your truth. This is your truth. This is your truth. So the idea is that you're constantly being given an opportunity to let go and zero back to your natural state with literally every beat of your heart reflecting to you like a drum the vibration, the core vibration of your higher mind in its natural state. And it gives you the opportunity to guide yourself in letting those negative beliefs go so that your physical mind can also align and be transparent to those vibrations that are bouncing from the heart into the physical mind that are representative of the core communication of the higher mind. And that way you can move forward in physical reality, in love, in passion. This is why it translates as passion, because it is filtering through or bouncing back from the heart to your physical mind that only understands that vibration really when it aligns with it as the sensation of passion, excitement, curiosity, attraction, and love. So take the cue not only from the higher mind, but from what the heartbeat, every heartbeat is reflecting to you. That passion, that curiosity, that excitement, that freedom, that love is truly your core frequency, your natural state. And move forward, choose to move forward in that way. And you will be at one, at peace, in total freedom and joy, in love, by listening to your heart, which has its own mind in a sense, connecting to the higher mind, and between the two, with the physical mind in the center, between those two, you can be guided to remember your true self and live a life of pure love, joy, creativity, and harmony by being the true individuals that you each are, that you were created to be. That is your path in life. In this month that you honor the idea of love and the heart, in February and your Valentine's Day, and reach out also to all the different peoples and all the differences on your world in a loving way, to incorporate and embrace everyone in their own truth and free them from their own limitations by being the living examples of someone living their truth, living from their heart and head in unison, in harmony and higher mind. Do so not only in this month, but in every month and in every year. And you will change your frequencies and navigate yourselves to the versions of Earth that already coexist that are far more representative of the heart of love and the experience of ecstasy and joy. So, we thank you for allowing us to share this heartfelt message with you. And in return, we ask, in what way now may we be of service to you? You may begin, if you wish, with your questions and comments and dialogues.
Good morning, Bashar.
Good day, good day.
How are you today?
Perfect, as in every day. And you?
I am well. I'm very excited. I'm all the way from Australia. It's very early here.
Oh, I'm all the way from Esasani.
So exciting. I have a couple of questions for you,
Yes.
if you wouldn't mind.
I do not mind.
I want to talk to you about the timeline splitting. I know that we're in the process of them eventually crystallizing and not being able to see other people in our own, our own reality that do not vibrate with our frequency.
Yes.
I want to talk about personal relationships like our family and friends. Do those people who, if they're not on the same frequency and the same timeline as you, do they completely disappear, or do we get a different version of them?
It can be either.
Okay.
It depends on what their path is and what they're choosing in multiple realities. Sometimes they simply have a path that doesn't necessarily require them to have a version in the new reality you may have shifted to, and therefore you may never see them again. Sometimes they may have a version and you will interact with that version that is more compatible with the new reality. It just depends on their particular path.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Another one, I know because I've been watching lots of your transmissions from all over the years. When we go to sleep, I'm aware that we wake up in spirit. I want to know what your take is when we're asleep and in our form, what we're experiencing when we have what we call nightmares here.
Generally, although there can be many reasons, generally what you are doing is processing the negative beliefs and fear-based beliefs within your physical mind to make yourself aware, in a sense, on a safer level, that you have these beliefs so that when you wake up in physical reality, you can explore them and understand what they symbolized, what they mean to you, and it gives you a clue as to what it is to investigate within yourself about any fear-based or negative beliefs you may still be unconsciously holding on to.
Okay, cool. So we're not witnessing some negative timelines or anything?
Oh, you may be. You may be. It depends upon the dream. But again, for the most part, even if that's the case, it's still showing you a connection you may be creating to those things so that you can decide for yourselves whether to use them in a valuable way, learn from them in a valuable way, or process them in a way that is valuable to you here and now.
Okay, cool. Is there any guidance that you and your civilization may have when it comes to releasing those, I guess, subconscious beliefs, I guess?
Well, as we have said, yes, many, many times, we've given you the techniques of asking yourself the question, what does this mean to me? Why would I choose to believe this is true for myself or about myself in this circumstance or situation, just dig down deeply and be willing to investigate whether you're holding on to something that doesn't serve you, and be willing to hear the answers and ask yourself, if I did move forward in the way that I prefer to, what am I afraid might happen? That will usually reveal the negative belief or fear-based belief to you that you can then work with.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This one's probably going to be a little bit odd. I've been pondering it for a while.
All right.
As the human species, when we're thinking about, obviously, your civilization and other species as a whole, just in general,
Yes.
do you guys do you feel that or see that? Is that kind of like one of the start of like the window of open contact?
It can be, but again, and again, as every individual is different, if there is a need for someone to be aware of it, they will be aware of it. If there isn't, they won't. But it will still serve the purpose of allowing you to experience a connection.
Yeah, cool. I've been having a couple of experiences alongside one of my really close friends. There's moments throughout our day where randomly on our right side of our eyesight, even though we're awake, we kind of get this blurred vision and we can see what I would describe as like white or blue energy.
Yes.
Kind of looks like when you see heat coming off a hot surface, like that aura.
Yes, we understand.
Can you tell me a little bit about what that may be?
Well, yes. First of all, realize you're surrounded by different dimensions of energy constantly. You
Yes.
may not be aware of them typically. But when you start to explore and expand your consciousness, you also change the sensitivity of your senses. And therefore, your senses can begin to perceive things quite often first out of the corner of your eye, so it's not too much of a shock until you get used to it, and can bring it into focus right before you. But it's very typical that as you expand your consciousness, you can see what was heretofore invisible and make it visible to you, and get used to the idea that there's more going on around you than you thought.
Perfect. Thank you. That's all I have today. Thank you so much for your time.
It is our passion and our pleasure. We thank you as well.
Thank you so much. Love to you guys. See you.
Good day.
Good day.
Hi, everybody. This is Jay from Souk, Vancouver Island. I was hoping that you could give us a handful of words that, in your opinion, we could redefine as a collective and on an individual level as well. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and good day. And thanks, guys. Bye.
All right. As we have said, doubt is not a lack of trust. It's a 100% trust in something you don't prefer. So you're always trusting. There's no such thing as a lack of trust. There is, however, a trust in lack. So that's a reversal, paradoxical definition that will allow you to always know you don't have to learn to trust. You just have to decide what it is you're trusting in. Depression is simply the negative perspective and definition of compression, which is a natural state where you know you cannot find the answers you seek outside, you go within. You collapse within into a state where you investigate and examine yourself and come out redefining yourself as a new person. If you look at it as a natural state of compression, specifically for that purpose of finding out how to let go of beliefs that don't serve you and emerging as a truly new person, then you will not experience that sensation as depression, which is the negative side, thinking that something must be wrong with you just because you may feel like you're withdrawing from society for a moment. It's a natural thing to do when you need to go internal within yourself and find the answers that you seek. A walk-in is not a different soul coming into the same body and another soul leaving to make room for it. You are filled up with yourself. There's no room for anything else to be there. And if you decide to leave, nothing else really comes in the way that you mean it with respect to the concept of a walk-in. There are other things that can happen that we will address another time, But a walk-in is simply a shift in vibrational resonance and ascension of the frequency of your own soul to another level that then demands a different expression of personality to come through to represent that shift in the vibration to a higher level of your soul. So it's the same soul expressing itself through a new personality, but it is the same being that was there before, just expressing itself on a different level. That's a walk-in. Ascension is simply the process, especially by following your passion or anything you love to do, or being in love, where you raise your frequency to another level that gives you a chance to receive higher frequency information and experiences and connections from higher dimensional realms. Now, ascension is not just something that is going to happen at a particular moment. You're always ascending if you're following your passion, if you're expanding your consciousness, if you're exploring ideas of spiritual reality. Ascension is an ongoing process of raising your frequency. You can lower it as well by the choices that you make, but that can still be part of ascension, because ascension can be the idea of going up and down and up and down and up and down in a straight line, or in a more positive way, you can understand that if you learn the lessons from the times you go down in vibration, that then when you learn those lessons, you will go up to a higher level the next time. So going up and down is a constant rising overall, even though you may go up and down in that process. But ascension, on its most basic term, is simply the raising of your frequency from one level to another.
Hello.
And good day.
Good day to you, Bashar. Thank you for seeing me.
It is our passion and our pleasure to do so. Thank you for the co-creation. What would you like to discuss?
So my first question then. Last time we spoke, you advised me to ask myself what am I afraid of would happen if I were to truly be myself and to truly let go.
Yes.
The answer I received was that I am afraid that all the pieces of me would fall apart and be lost, that I'm identifying so strongly with my labels.
Well, all right. But if you understand the whole concept from a holistic perspective of being yourself, why would you lose anything that was actually relevant to actually being yourself? Anything that would drop away would be those things that are no longer relevant for who you are. So you may have been afraid to lose the familiarity, thinking that you would wind up not knowing who you were, but that's contradictory to the very definition of being your true self, which would open up your awareness to the point where you would know exactly who you are.
Do you have any advice for those of us that feel so strongly attached to these things that we think we are on that journey?
Well, continue your process of examining who you actually are compared to who you think you are, and allow yourself the time and the space to go through that process. You don't have to rush this. You can take your time, the whole point of your life anyway. And so explore as you wish, but as we often suggest and encourage you to do, follow the formula, because it contains all the things and tools necessary to reflect back to you whatever it is you need to look at, whatever it is you need to process, whatever it is you need to let go of, to gradually or quickly become more and more of who you are. So there's no hurry up about this. You're not racing against time or anything. You're an eternal, immortal, in that sense, being, indestructible. What's your hurry?
Very true. The second question, I guess, then would be asking for advice on working on not judging, not just with people, but in situations. I know that I have followed that rule of everything, no matter what it is to my benefit. But is there advice in letting go of like the judgments of people, places, and things as good or bad?
All right. Well, you have just actually given yourself the answer, but you have maintained the contradiction within it for some reason of your own, which is a belief unto itself. You've actually said, I know that everything can be used to my benefit. If you truly know that, what would there be to judge? Judgment wouldn't be an option. It wouldn't make sense. So because you are still judging, even while you say you know you can use everything to your benefit, clearly you don't fully understand or believe that concept yet.
Yes. You're right.
I know.
Is there any advice on deepening of that understanding?
Yes. Stop asking for outside advice and just know that you understand more than you think if you would only act on it fully.
Yes.
You're worthy. You are worthy or you wouldn't exist. So you're capable of allowing yourself to understand these concepts and practicing these concepts until you fully ingrain them within who you are. So when you hear yourself, learn to say the thing you say you believe, but learn to pay attention to whether you actually believe it in your actions and responses and emotions. And if you recognize that there's a contradiction there, work on that and find out where the contradiction is coming from, because it can only be coming from another negative belief that you don't quite have the worthiness to truly buy into and believe what you say you know would serve you. So explore that.
Thank you. So we've been taught in our schools that we have such diversity here on Earth
Yes.
within the human race alone.
Yes, it's beautiful.
We were taught that the reason that in the human race specifically, why there are so many differences, because at the beginning we started migrating and then we adapted to the climate. And this
Yes.
always seemed a little unsatisfactory to me. Is
Well,
there more to it?
To some degree, that is true. You have different kinds of genetics in you. You're all hybridized from different kinds of genetics throughout the galaxy. But the idea is that when you move into different climates, the climates can trigger some of those deep genetic differences that exist within you so that you will adapt to the different climates because of the genetics that exist within all of you that are from different places. And therefore, the climate, it may be the idea of the trigger, but the genetics within you come from many different places and among the stars. And that's why that happens to the degree that it does on your planet. Other planets may experience this to some degree, but not so many as deeply. You are an extremely hybridized civilization.
Wow.
For example,
Yes.
on my own world. Now, we don't really have the differences in climate around the planet that you do. We're mostly temperate and mild, but there are some differences here and there between the idea of north and south and so on and so forth. You might see a slight, very slight, if you know what to look for, slight variation in some of the beings on my planet that constantly live in a slightly different climate. But it's not quite so apparent as it is on your planet because we don't have quite the same kind of mix of genetics being engineered as a race as we were that you do by receiving different genetics from different extraterrestrial beings at different times for different purposes, plus, of course, the panspermia idea of originally receiving genetic material on your planet from different places in the universe that gave the soup, so to speak, the mix of genetic material on your planet already much more differentiated than on a lot of other planets. It just depends on your location as to what arrives on your planet that begins the process of how much genetic variation you can actually experience. Plus then the introduction of different extraterrestrial genetics through encounters and different kinds of experiences can also add to the mix. So you have a greater variety on your planet of genetic material than we do. And thus the differences that climate can affect are much greater and of a greater range than you would experience on our planet. But there are many differences on other planets as well.
That's very interesting. So for the next question, it's actually about channeling.
Yes.
I found that while channeling, I have a lot of experiences where it seems like there's multiple entities trying to speak at the same time.
You may be aware of the fact that there are multiple entities you're connecting to. It's not that they're trying to speak at the same time. It's just that you're aware that they're there and have something to say. That's more coming from your side than the idea that they're trying to speak at the same time. On that level, they would know how to coordinate their speech to follow one another in an appropriate way. You're assuming it's all coming from the same source or different sources at the same time because you're aware of them at the same time.
I see. I've
So you'll sort it out. You'll sort it out.
Okay. I've had experiences that, from what you just said, I've created then, where I've had like I'm channeling for one entity, and then another one comes in and says something kind of like
Yes.
different, and then the other one's like, "Shut up! I'm not like not shut up, but like
Again,
don't listen to that one."
it's being filtered through your physical mind as to how you're interpreting what's being given to you.
That makes sense.
Yes, I know. That's why I said it.
Right.
So we thank you for today. Go and have some fun.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome. Good day.
Good day.
Hello, Bashar. I would like to get more explanation out of you about the mind-body relationship. You've said that the mind exists within the body within the soul. Right. But that's pretty vague. I think. Like, when you say mind, does that include the higher mind, or is it just the physical mind? And as a healer, like, my experiences definitely would agree with the idea of the mind existing with, like, the physical mind existing within the body. That much seems very clear. But logically, I still grapple with that one because our physical health is so impacted by the beliefs and definitions that we have in our mind. So it would appear that the body is subject to the mind, even though I know that can't be, that the mind has to be subject to the body. And I would love some great examples, or at least one good example of how the mind is subject to the body. That would be helpful. Please comment. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, in some cases, you're accurate, and in some, you're sort of mixing your metaphors. But to start simply, often, in most cases, when we say body, mind, and spirit, the spirit part is what represents the higher mind in that definition or in that example. Although we understand that spirit can be a different thing, although it still includes the higher mind. So the idea is that, yes, your body can be conditioned by the mind, and the mind can be conditioned by the body in a sort of cyclic feedback loop. What you believe yourself to be, what you think of yourself as, can have an effect on how the body behaves. And how the body behaves can reinforce or have an effect on who you think you are, or what you believe about yourself to be true. So that kind of works in tandem with one another. The idea is that the higher mind is above and beyond the idea of the physical mind. Physical mind is simply that which allows you to have a physical experience expressed as the idea of a physical body, because that's just a projection of consciousness, as all physical reality is. So the body is, in a sense, the spirit projecting a portion of itself in a certain way that experiences itself as a physical being. And in order to experience oneself as a physical being, you have to have an organizational pattern of energy within that physical being that represents the physical mind, so it can be aware consciously of the experience it is having. The soul, as we have said, is sort of like unfired clay. The spirit is the ceramic that is the fired clay that represents the particular specific experience you're having as a particular physical identity, and therefore is contained within the oversoul and the soul ultimately. But the higher mind is a splitting of the soul into the non-physical guiding higher mind and the physical mind having the physical experience. Once the physical mind exists, then the body is subject to the belief systems in the physical mind, and again, the body can reinforce those particular physical beliefs within the physical mind. We do not know if this is a clear enough explanation for you since we're not interacting with you. But generally speaking, you have the oversoul, the soul, splitting itself into the non-physical higher mind and the physical mind, which then can have an experience of creating the spirit that is then once again taking that specific physical life experience and incorporating it back into the soul's experience and feeding that back into the oversoul's experience, which feeds it back into all that is.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
So nice to connect with you again. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity.
It is our passion and our pleasure. Please speak up.
Sure. I also want to thank you for that monologue. My heart is definitely racing after listening to that.
Oh, all right.
I had some questions for you that are a little off topic, if that's okay.
All right. That's all right.
So the first question actually had two parts to it, and it mainly has to do with state of being.
Yeah.
Lately, I've been feeling that I'm able to embody that frequency, that energy of my future desired self, who in this case is a rap star. That's one of my biggest dreams is to be a successful rap star one day.
All right. Now, one moment. Let me stop you.
Sure.
If rap is your passion, don't add all sorts of insistences or conditions on how that needs to express yourself when you use the word successful.
Okay.
Because the meaning you may be giving that may not be, it may be, but it may not be the meaning that actually serves you. So you are successful when you are simply expressing your passion in any way, shape, or form. Don't necessarily limit it by putting conditions on what you think being a successful rap star looks like for you. Watch your insistences.
So I'm really glad you said that. Is that maybe my negative ego coming into play, thinking that
it's mostly your training. It's mostly your training saying, well, this is the only way that can actually look. Just relax that definition and be open to the idea that there may be other ways in which that can be represented as successful. You don't know.
Just because I can't imagine it doesn't mean it's not. There's not some higher maybe reality.
You use what you can imagine. You use what representation you do have as a way of getting you excited, but you drop that particular representation and stay in the state of being to allow the higher mind to bring you the way that actually works best for you. And it might be what you envision, but it might not be. So don't limit it by insisting on the particular way in which you've been taught to think. Just use it to your advantage to get you excited, but don't insist on that picture because it could happen some other way that could be many times better.
Yeah. Well, again, I'm really glad you said that. It feels like I've heard you say in the past it's about state of being.
Yes.
And it seems like I keep making my goal or my state of being conditional on
on having it to look like a certain thing in order for you to determine that you have been successful. Let me put it to you this way through an example.
Okay.
Let's just say all of a sudden synchronicity, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, I'm just opening your mind up a little bit.
Sure.
Let's say synchronicity suddenly brings you an opportunity to arrive at a children's hospital. And in that children's hospital, you do your rap for those children to allow them to feel more excited, more healthy, more uplifted. Now, what if that's all it turns out to be? Would you not know that you would still be getting absolute joy out of that, even though it's not traditionally what many people would think of as a traditional music career?
Right.
So,
no, I absolutely, yeah.
All right. So allow for different ways in which you could be of service by expressing your joy and your passion and your gift. I'm not, again, saying it has to limit itself to any one way. You may be doing it 12 different ways. But the idea is that if you only insist that one way is the way, you will never experience the idea of the 11 other ways it could also be.
That's deep, Bashar. I'm really glad. My follow-up question to that is like irrelevant now, but I'm trying to process what you just said.
Oh, it's not that difficult. You understand the concept that I'm telling you.
Yeah, I think it comes down to this fear that I have. Actually, I have a couple fears, but one is that I'm gonna follow the formula, act on my passion, make music, and then I'm gonna be 40 years old one day, living under a bridge or something. And
Well, that's extremely interesting that you would pick that kind of a scenario as the logical outcome of following your passion, which means you have a completely contradictory definition of what your passion is all about. Because you're saying, if I follow my passion, something that's not representative of my passion might happen. That's an absolute impossibility. Or even if it did happen physically that way, it would actually be representative of your passion and you wouldn't mind it. So the idea is to trust that the state of being will express itself through any outcome that is truly representative of your passion, no matter how it looks. What if living under a bridge for a day, a week, or a year actually improved your ability to deliver your rap songs because now you've experienced a slice of life that allows you to go deeper in the content that you will share with other people? Would that not be part of your passion?
I'm definitely starting to see what you're getting at. That's very, very enlightening. Yeah, I guess, and then it goes to another fear that I have of actually making it, big one day, and then it feels like,
you can't handle it.
Yeah, maybe just like every move I make would be under a microscope, and then
so what? So what?
Yeah.
So what? That's your mantra. So what? Because again, if you understand that you are truly in alignment with your passion, whatever it is that happens is going to be an expression of that and will actually feel correct. Now, if it doesn't feel correct, that gives you the opportunity to examine the fear-based beliefs within you to make sure you actually are following your passion, because maybe you took another course that really wasn't representative of it, and the feeling is guiding you back into the true path for you. Or again, it gives you the opportunity to let go of that fear-based belief so that you can truly feel where you are as being representative of the outcome of your passion.
I feel like on either case of either of those fears, those two extremes, the underlying fear is just embarrassment or maybe like feeling humiliated or something, making a mistake. So definitely something to...
All right, but if you make a mistake, isn't that something you can learn from and do differently next time?
Right, especially if I define it in the most positive light possible.
Exactly. How you experience anything is how you define it.
Nice.
So I'm not saying you suddenly recognize negative things as positive things. I'm saying you recognize that even when something is generated by a negative experience, you can still get a positive experience from it if you stay in a positive state. Remember, that is one of the stages of the formula. You stay in a positive state no matter what happens, so you can get the benefit out of it.
Right.
Otherwise, you'll only experience the negative side of it by defining it in a negative way. Oh, this shouldn't have happened. I did something wrong. This doesn't belong in my life. I'm not capable. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy, blah, blah, blah.
And then
if that's what you prefer, then that's what you'll get.
Right. Awesome. So glad you said that, Bashar. Thank you so much for your time.
It is our passion and our pleasure.
Really appreciate it. Till next time.
Good day.
Good day.
Hi, Bashar. This is Karen again. I've got another question for you, and it is about cats once more. So, you told me in a previous conversation that cats do not reincarnate, but there is something peculiar about my cats. They seem to be connected to one another. Now, my cats are not cats. They truly guide me. They truly help me. They're just magical. And I was wondering, do animals, and then especially cats, have an oversoul, just as we humans have? And the cats that truly take on this mission, maybe, to guide humans, do they come from the same oversoul? thank you for broadening up my perspective on this. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes, cats can have an oversoul. Now, when we said cats don't reincarnate, we say it in the same way that we say nothing actually does, because everything exists all at the same time. And reincarnation is an illusion from the physical perspective. You can create a sensation in physical reality, a perspective from physical reality that one life happens after another. But the idea is that it's simply a connection to things that exist at the same time and share similar frequencies so that you make that connection and think it's the same being over and over again when it's not. Different extensions of the same oversoul happening from the oversoul's perspective at the same time can play out in linear time-based physical reality as if they're in different times, all connecting back to the same oversoul. So reincarnation is the experience you can have from the physical perspective, but mechanically speaking, there's no such thing for humans, animals, or anything else, because everything exists all at the same time, and you make energetic connections to all these other things to create a linear continuity between them that makes it seem as if reincarnation is the mechanism, when all it is the experience from a particular perspective. But yes, there can be similar vibrations in cats that will be necessary to work with different humans in different ways or other beings in different ways. That creates a continuity that human may need to experience in order to understand what's going on as the lesson being reflected.
Hi, Bashar.
Good day, good day.
I'm Rem from Sarasota, Florida. How are you doing today?
Perfect, and you?
Good. I'm
All
really
right.
good.
All right.
Recently, I've been excited about exploring the Taoist permission slip called Nea Kung and how it relates to the concepts you share with us.
All right. Is it working for you?
One more time.
Is it working for you?
Yes. I'm asking some really interesting questions, I think.
All right.
Practitioners of Nea Kung store energy in the Dantian, or the subnavel. Taoist practitioners theorize that that is an optimal place to store energy because of some of the first cells created in conception.
All right.
I was curious why it seems like energy is stored in some places of the body more than others. It seems like the body is entirely comprised of energy, so wouldn't any part of it be receptive?
You can use it that way, but again, because you are experiencing a physical reality and have agreed to abide by the conditions and so-called rules of physical reality and processes that exist in physical reality, you can also diversify and look at things in ways that compartmentalize things that may be a way that works better for some people than others. So you can say, well, because this is the first cell created, I'm going to focus on that as having the ability to store a particular kind of energy for my purposes. So it's really all workable. You can look at it any way you want, but if you've gravitated to some particular perspective like that, there may be a reason for it. And it could be the reason that that is the perspective that will work for you. Or it could be the reason that gets you to ask the question, can't it be done in any part of the body? So you have to determine which answer is true for you with your investigation.
I was also curious about how this relates to, because it seemed to me that it would just be automatic by following the formula.
Yes, it
various
is.
types of energy.
It is.
How does it mechanically, how does that look?
How does what look? Following the formula?
No. I mean, when does energy get involved in the formula? What is happening with energy in the formula?
Your energy overall is raising its frequency so that you can become a more sensitive receiver and an antenna to higher frequency information from the higher mind, from spirit, from other dimensional beings that can help guide you in figuring out what techniques, what permission slips work best for you.
Okay. And so there's another thing too, like the idea that where attention goes, chi flows, and attention is the first primary factor, and then chi is a secondary factor.
Yes, well, the idea is exactly the same thing as acting on your passion. That's your focus. And when you act on your passion, all the energy of your being goes into becoming the driving engine, the organizing principle, the path of least resistance, That's the same thing in different terms.
Oh, okay. Well, and is intention related to attention?
When you follow your passion, where else would your attention be?
But I mean, intention.
Where else would your intention be? If you're following your passion, you simply don't have an intention to do anything else at that moment. That's what we mean by it becomes the driving engine.
How do you discern intention from expectation?
Expectation in its negative sense is insistence.
Okay. So
Does that help?
intention is just positive expectation.
Intention is
without
just
insistence?
it's just the way you focus your energy by following your passion. Yes.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
My last question is, what happens when we get goosebumps? Let's say we hear a meaningful speech or there's a change in music. What causes goosebumps for us in that way?
You are aligning with the frequency and all of your little antennas perk up.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. That's all.
You are very welcome. Have a good day.
You also.
Hi Bashar, it's Dami from Israel. Can you tell us more about the moon, the way it changes monthly when it's getting half full and then getting smaller? I suppose that every cycle has its own energy. So can you tell us how can we use this energy that the moon gives us in every cycle so we can benefit our lives? And also, how does it connect to the women's monthly period? Thank you.
Well, energetically, they are deeply connected with the vibrations of emotionality. So you can explore different aspects of your emotionality during the different cycles of the moon. If you're asking for a physical explanation, well, you can look that up on your own in your internet because it's easily understood why there are different phases of the moon with regard to its position in its orbit around your Earth relative to the sun. But the idea energetically is that you can use it to gauge the idea of energy within your physical and emotional systems to represent the idea of the waxing and waning of life, birth, death, so on and so forth, in any way, shape, or form that you desire to use it according to the permission slip that you've attracted to use and the definitions that you apply to that particular permission slip. So we leave that up to you, but it's strongly connected to the vibrations of your emotionality and your physical cycles because it represents the whole idea in and of itself of cycles in physical reality, of light and dark and in between.
Hello, Bashar. Nice to speak with you again.
And to you, good day.
So I spoke with you some months ago, and you suggested one thing for me to do is to get an animal companion.
Yes.
And I said that I travel too much. And I thought I was going to stay somewhere, but I started traveling again, and I kind of just enjoy it too much. Is there a way that I can just interact with the pets and animals I meet along the way?
Absolutely. Animal companions don't have to necessarily live with you all the time. You can trade them out per location.
Okay. What I noticed about the animals that kind of made a difference is how cats can kind of come and they want affection and then they go away.
Yes.
Is that sort of what you were suggesting? It's like you don't always need it. It just comes and goes.
Correct. And cats are very adept at sensing exactly what you need and sensing when you don't need it.
Yeah. So about the subject of traveling, I really wish to keep traveling a lot.
All right. We'll keep doing so.
Though I also thought about buying land as an investment in a place that really feels like somewhere I keep coming back to.
All right. Well, you can do both, you know.
I'm not sure if I feel excited about it because it feels like a lot of work, and my main motivation is kind of financial. So I don't know.
All right. Stop. You have to examine whether or not you're dampening the excitement with your negative definitions. Because when you say, well, I'm not sure if I feel excited about it, then obviously you don't feel excited about it. And the idea is that you have to determine whether or not you're killing the excitement with your definitions or whether it's truly not your excitement. So you have to have honest self-investigation about all the things you think that buying land is going to do that will bring you down to a level where you won't enjoy your life, and find out if those definitions are actually true or if you're just buying into things that have nothing to do with what could actually be experienced by you. So when you do that, you will know clearly whether or not buying land is truly representative of your passion or not. And if it does turn out to be representative of your passion, then by definition, buying land would never interfere with any other expression of your passion like traveling. They would work harmoniously together.
Thank you. That's very clear.
All right.
Is there anything I can personally do to accelerate the open contact besides the following the formula and what I'm already doing?
No.
Okay. I've had this idea to make an open contact festival or retreat or restival specifically for those who are excited about ET contact.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. And since that's an expression of following your passion, that's what will accelerate the possibility.
Okay. But is there anything specific about that you'd suggest?
Do what you believe needs to be included as long as it's in alignment with your true passion.
Okay.
It will be exactly what it needs to be.
I also want to expand my audience and share more of my gifts. Do you have any suggestions for that?
Can you put yourself farther out? Can you advertise yourself broader?
Yeah, maybe I need an assistant for that because it's kind of challenging.
All right. Allowing yourself to attract an assistant can be representative of your passion. We're not saying you have to do every single aspect of something you're passionate about. Attracting someone to help you can be part of your passion.
Okay. I often get caught in comparison with other channelers and energy workers and astrologers, and I
when
feel
you
like
say you get caught, what do you mean?
I compare myself, or I think that I'm not good enough. Or
You have no business comparing yourself to anyone. You're unique, they're unique. You cannot compare yourself to anyone. It doesn't work. So you have no business doing so.
Okay.
Do it the way that works for you.
Okay. So I have a question about moving too fast in life. I feel like I move really fast and I really love it. And
Then slow down into your true pace, and you will move as fast as you can possibly go. Sometimes you have to slow down to go faster. If you are moving fast truly because you love it, then that's one thing. But if you're moving fast because you're desperate to think that you might miss something or won't accomplish something, then you're doing it out of fear and it's not your true pace. Your true pace will feel fast enough when you align with it.
Okay.
So again, always examine why you're doing what you're doing in the way you're doing it. If you're doing it because you think you're going to miss something, then that tells you you're doing it from a negative fear-based reason. Slow down and trust that the way your life unfolds and the rate at which it unfolds is perfect. When you find the true pace, it will feel absolutely correct, and everything that happens will fall into place in perfect timing. Remember, it's not about time, it's about timing.
And what about if I have a lot of desires or cravings for coffee or cacao, things that make me move faster?
Again, you have to examine why you're doing that. Because again, if you're doing it for negative fear-based reasons, it's not going to work for you and it will burn you out. What's your hurry? What is your hurry?
I don't know. I just want to accomplish as much as I can and experience.
What is your hurry? Do you not understand? Do you not understand that if you actually are synchronized with your perfect timing, that you will by definition accomplish everything that you actually chose to accomplish in this life? But that paradoxically, if you actually force yourself to hurry up and rush ahead, you actually will miss several of the things you wanted to accomplish because you won't be in the present, which is where they need to happen. You'll be rushing ahead, thinking of the future, hurrying up to be somewhere you're not, instead of being where you actually are, which would allow things to manifest much more quickly. Because things can't manifest when you're not present. So sometimes, again, as we say, you may need to slow down a little bit in order to actually help things move ahead more quickly.
That's very clear. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you have thoughts on polyamory?
Whatever it is that someone is attracted to do that is in agreement by consensus with everyone else, as long as there is clear communication about what is going on with everyone so that they are making a conscious choice in those arrangements, then that's fine.
Is there a way to kind of transcend jealousy in those settings, or is that always a part of our human experience?
No, it is not. Jealousy means you think you're missing something, that you're not getting what you need. It is a poor me situation. I'm deprived definition.
Right.
So you're not trusting the way your life unfolds, and you're not actually living your passion.
Yeah. I finally met somebody who feels like a good match, but since that happened, it feels like I've like lost a lot of my desire. It's almost like I was more into the chase than actually having. I don't know if there's any way that I can really drop
Then
in.
do an investigation about what it is you actually got out of that and the reasons for why you experienced it in the way that you did. You need some honest self-investigation about why you choose to do the things you do. So take some time to do that. Don't be in a hurry to do anything else other than figure out why you do what you do. That's what will help you the most.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
When people exchange sexual energy or even kiss, some people say that there's like a DNA transfer and that people take on energy from others. To what extent is that true? And how long does that energy stick around?
The idea is you are simply matching frequencies with the other being, and it sticks around as long as you desire to match frequencies with them. And then when you change your frequency...
Some people are very dogmatic about that.
I understand.
Do you have any perspective on the importance of gay, lesbian, and bisexual people and other queer people in that planetary evolution or ascension?
It is important for the evolution on your planet because it shows people on your planet that there are many different ways to express the soul and love.
And on individual levels, is there something more significant that we can cultivate?
Well, it can be. Yes, it can be, but we're going to leave that up to every individual who experiences it.
That was all of my questions, too. You answered every single one.
Thank you very much.
You're amazingly synchronistic, and I love you so much.
We love you unconditionally. Please move forward in your life in the best possible way for you, paying attention to why you do what you do. That's all you need to do.
Okay. I hope to meet you soon. I hope that all of our extraterrestrial friends can land and we can have a big party.
Someday that will be possible.
I look forward to it. Thank you, Bashar.
You are welcome.
Good day, Bashar. How are you?
Perfect. And you? Good day.
Thank you very much. Bashar, thank you for this opportunity. I appreciate it.
Well, you have co-created it with us, so thank you.
Be honest with you, since I'm new to this, I don't know if I can wrap my head around the idea of talking to a society 500 years in the future, but this is...
Well, you don't need to wrap your head around that. It's the information that is important. It doesn't matter whether you believe we are who we say we are. It's simply a methodology of delivering information, and if the information is applied in your life, the proof of the pudding, as you say on Earth, is that the information will make the changes in your life that are important. It doesn't matter whether you believe the source of the information if the information works for you.
Oh, okay. Recently, I read a book on a lady's experience on a near-death experience.
Yes.
He talked in depth about how she levitated over her bed with doctors trying to save her life. She experienced, she listened to conversations down the hall.
Yes.
And
these are all typical experiences in out-of-body near-death experiences.
Right. So what I was really perplexed by is the communication to a higher frequency she claimed that she had with her father that passed away 7 years before, and then also her friend 3 years after that.
Yes.
She said words can't describe how efficient the communication was. And I was just wondering if you can elaborate on how higher frequency works, and if that's the same type, is that the same communication you have with other Sasanis?
Yes. The idea is that all information exists at the same time. Time is an illusion. So the idea is that when a concept is formed, all the information having to do with that concept is there all at once in a non-verbal way. The idea is that even going on in this channeling, in this transmission, when someone asks a question, all the information is there and it is delivered by us all at once. It simply takes time to unspool through the channel's brain and translate into the language that you understand, because I'm not speaking English. I'm simply sending telepathic thoughts, telepathic concepts that are whole unto themselves and contain every part of the issue all at once. Whatever then needs to be unspooled and translated into your language takes time. But the original communication is there instantaneously, all at the same time. That's how it happens in non-physical reality. There's no verbal communication. It's all about resonance. It's all about vibration and matching frequencies. When you're on a certain frequency level, you understand exactly the things that are commensurate with that frequency level. So it's about matching frequencies and receiving all the information at the same time that is germane to that particular frequency. Does that answer your question, or is there some specific thing you want to explore?
No, that
further?
does actually, because she was able to describe having listened to conversations down the hall, realizing her brother was traveling from a distance to come see her. So she was able to gather all this and realize everything all at the same time. So
yes,
that's
on that level, it's holistic and holographic.
Is there how can we emulate that more on Earth?
By following the formula and opening up to following your passion and being in a state of love all the time. Because when you are in a state of love, when you're following your passion and doing what you love to do, your frequency automatically raises. And when your frequency raises, it becomes a more sensitive receiver and an antenna to receive higher dimensional information.
That actually dovetails into my next question.
How synchronistic.
About death.
Yes.
Every person who claims to have a near-death experience, they all say the same thing about blissfulness and peacefulness and unconditional love. And and I just wonder what is this place? Is it a state, or is it a place, or how do we?
It's both.
It's both. Do we recreate that?
It's both. The idea is to understand that what you translate in your physical reality as the concept of unconditional love and bliss is actually the frequency of existence itself. So in that state, when you remove yourself from some of the limitations you impose upon your consciousness that have to do with limitations of space and time, you are more adept at perceiving directly the frequency of existence itself. And that is that unconditional support and love that you talk about from the physical perspective.
Okay. Now, regarding spirits,
Yes.
how are some spirits? Do some spirits linger in this state?
Yes.
And why do some spirits choose to remain like on Earth? Recently,
they're not on Earth per se, but they're in what might be termed the lower astral realms that are close enough to the physical vibration that they might sometimes be perceived by those sensitive enough to see them. There are different layers of frequencies in the afterlife, so to speak. And those that may feel they have unfinished business may linger to deliver a message wherever they can. Those that feel they need to guide someone else who is having a difficult time may linger to be a spirit guide for them. And there are those that sometimes die based on their belief systems that feel like they don't even know that they're dead. So they may continue to act like they're trying to live their physical life and perhaps be confused about why certain people can't talk to them or see them anymore, but be lost in their confusion because of fear and negative belief systems that they harbored when they were alive that doesn't allow them to understand they can open up and go further into the spirit world. So there are many reasons, as there are individuals who may choose to remain close to the physical vibration of Earth.
Okay. Yeah, that explains a couple of the questions I had after. Now, is this self-selected, or is this self-selected by them to linger behind to finish?
Well, as I said, some of them select that consciously, and some of them may not know they have an option to move on. It depends on what belief systems you hold on to most strongly when you die. But eventually, people either in physical reality or in spirit can be guides for them to remind them and let them go that they have crossed over, they are now no longer physical in the same way, and that they can move on to higher and higher levels if they so desire. So they will always have help, but also sometimes they may have to go through a particular process in the same way that people on Earth have to go through certain processes to make certain realizations. Just because you're in spirit doesn't necessarily mean you're finished with a particular process. However, the majority of people, especially in this day and age on your planet, are aware of such ideas and therefore are less likely to remain earthbound, as you say, because they know that they're starting to hear stories of near-death experiences, shared-death experiences, and the bliss and peace and joy and love that goes with it. And that can actually color exactly what they're able to experience when they do die.
Wonderful. I recently had a friend that passed, and is there a way for me to raise my frequency to communicate with him?
I just told you, follow the formula, follow your passion, because it raises your frequency, and then synchronicity will take over, and you will know when you have received a communication. Now, for most people, it's a little easier to receive those communications when you're asleep in your dreams, because then your physical mind and all of its insistences are out of the way. But yes, by following your passion, you can allow the physical reality to become a little bit more lucid and allow more flexibility of communication with higher frequency dimensions like spirit. And synchronicity plays a big part in that. A lot of times a message delivered from spirit will not necessarily come with trumpets or voices or things like that. They will often use what's easiest and in front of your face already by simply making a very soft suggestion that today on your walk you will turn left instead of right, because they know that if you turn left instead of right, you may overhear a conversation that reminds you of them or see something that reminds you of them, and then you will know that that unusual synchronicity, that unusual choice to make a difference in your walking path is actually a message saying, hi, I'm here, and I just had to tell you, just had to urge you to go one way or the other to know that there's a message from me to you. That's more often than not how spirit will do it, because physical minds are so limited and so focused that it's easier to use what's already in front of your face to get the message through.
That's fantastic. One other thing is I recently heard an audio of this gentleman explaining, and he had a memory of his soul attached into a pre-fetus.
Yes.
And how he was scared and how he had to lower his frequency to get down to the fetus level. Yes. And how he rejected it the first 2 times and then it finally attached.
Yes.
Is that possible to have a pre-fetus memory?
You exist eternally. And therefore, from a linear perspective, there can be a before this life as well as an after this life, even though everything exists at the same time when you eliminate the concept of time in a timeless state. So yes, spirits can experience certain ideas previous to the idea of making the choice to have a physical experience, and that can be many different kinds of experiences.
Wow. The attachment process is interesting to me. Do the souls choose the fetus, or is the fetus choosing the soul, or is that selected by...
Well, in a sense, from your perspective, it would be more like the soul choosing the fetus. You choose everything. In a sense, the fetus also has a type of consciousness that does match the needs of the soul. So it's by an agreement. But the idea is that everything is a choice. Nothing is by accident, really. You choose your family, you choose in many ways the situations and circumstances that you believe in that life you need to learn what you are choosing to learn for your own soul's growth and continuation.
Wow. Thank you, Prashar. Appreciate it.
It is our passion and our pleasure, and we bid you good day.